Hey guys, welcome to the Jungle Brothers podcast. It's me, Joey. We've got Paul in the house today.
What's up?
No T. T's away. He's travelling up north, doing a recce for the big Jungle Brothers expansion. More on that next week. But I just wanted to fill you guys in on a couple of things we've got going on. We have rest and recovery workshop happening within the gym on next Saturday the 13th. So by the time you're listening to this, which will be on Monday, it'll be Saturday. Saturday we've got it's a tribe members event. All the tribe, our gym members, they come for free. Coach Dylan's going to be running it. He's going to be riffing on rest and recovery and really the big ticket items in that realm for a couple of hours. It's free for members. If you want to bring a friend, they got to pay $20. You can register on that through you'll see it on our Facebook group and on our Instagram and that kind of thing. The other thing we've got going on the following weekend, so on Saturday the 20th, is we have this month's BJJ Beginners Workshop. So if you are local to Botany and you are interested in trying BJJ, or perhaps had a bit of experience with in the past but have had a big layoff, you should come along to that. That's also going to be free. It's capped at 14 people. So you're going to have to register for that too. And again, you'll find the details on our social media channels, or if you get our newsletter, it's all there. But good to be here today. We've got the coffee from Panavore. I need the coffee today. I'm feeling a little bit tired, Paulie. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I'm a bit tired, too.
You're a bit tired?
It's my default state.
It's the end of the week, isn't it?
Parents, end of the week. T's not here. We got like 1.5 litres of coffee to ourselves, bruh.
We got a shit. And I actually went to Panavore this morning to pick up the coffee and had breakfast. And I was like, I'll have one coffee because I'm going to have coffee on the show. So I was like, I'll have one coffee. And then Tree, with his incredible service, I had finished my breakfast and he came out and said, I've got your next coffee on the way, they're making it now.
Oh.
And I was like, oh shit. And they bring it. It's a fresh, delicious little piccolo latte. Can't say no.
Yes.
But it's a big caffeinated day Fridays.
Okay, yeah.
With what we get to drink on the show.
Yeah, me too.
Which ties us in very nicely to what we're going to talk about today. We're going to go into the realm of recovery a little bit, and this is quite a timely topic, as Paul is a recent purchaser of a fitness wearable, health wearable, fitness tracker type deal, and myself also. I've been rocking mine for a few months. Paul's a bit new to the game, so we're going to just kind of riff on that a little bit and break down like why we did it and what's good about it, and sort of reservations and whatnot.
I've always hated that name, wearable. Tash I said, I'm getting a wearable, and then it came and I was like, this is my wearable. She was giggles when I say the word. So why do you say wearable? It sounds like a cod piece or something like that. And I was like, oh damn. But yeah, it's a
what is it?
It's a wearable, and I guess I'm new to it. I don't usually like to wear anything usually when I'm moving around. I used to wear a watch a lot.
Did you?
Yeah, I used to wear a watch. I used to wear a watch on set all the time back in the day on film sets. I thought it was my responsibility to do a good job to have, because it was all time based. You're anticipating shooting times, so I always had a watch then. I don't mind wearing them, but since then not having to have one, like I don't want to have something extra on me, let alone something that has a screen on it that has like stuff on it. Like my watches were always analog, had like the white face with the hands.
Yeah.
You've ever seen one of those before, kids?
The ones that the smart guys wear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. So I'm like, she said, why do you call it, what is a wearable? I was like, it's a bit of technology that you wear that takes some data down and helps you to perform better. Would that be a kind of simplified way of putting it?
Yeah, totally.
That's what it's being defined as.
I mean, you could also say that it could just show you how bad you're performing as well, right?
Yeah, yes.
You do what you do and it would tell you.
Yes, it's unbiased.
That's right.
Or that's its goal.
On that watch thing, I used to wear a watch too, occasionally. Had a G-Shock. I still have. I quite like it.
Your big green one.
Big green one, yeah. But I find as soon as you start practicing handstands or anything where your hands are on the floor, the watch is really restricting, and it like presses into the back of your hand, and so you're just like, I don't need a fucking watch. And we all carry a phone now.
Yeah.
So it's not actually like you need to know the time from your watch. It's more of just an accessory.
Funny, because we're talking about the work this week. Remember the meeting that we were supposed to have the other day that I missed?
Well, I missed it too.
And you missed it too. It was great. And I was reflecting with Ty on why that happened. And I was coaching underneath the mezzanine and I can't quite see the clock, so I have to step out from underneath it to just eyeball the clock and come back. And you know, when you're coaching someone and they're in sets and you're talking between sets and coaching, like you try to avoid walking away from them so much. And that's how I lost track of what time was because I couldn't see it directly when I'm under there.
Right.
So I was like, oh, maybe I'll start wearing a watch for the same reason why I would on set, to be a professional, to keep my session moving, you know, because I don't want to check my phone. But now I'm at a ends here because I've got this wearable. I'm like, where do I put my watch now?
You've got two wrists.
I've got two wrists.
Seems a bit over the top, doesn't it?
Going from none to like two things on my body.
Yeah. I saw a mate the other day who kind of one of the few people that influenced me to go to Whoop. And Whoop, guys, is the brand of wearable we're talking about. So you'll hear us say that a bit. We call it Whoop in Australia. When you listen to them talk, it's an American thing. It's called a Whoop.
Whoop.
Yeah, they call it a Whoop.
Whoop.
But we say Whoop. Because it fucking sounds cool, huh?
Oh, no.
I'll fucking
Whoop
whoop your
you.
ass.
Oh, whoop your ass. Whoop.
But anyway, that's the one we're wearing. That's the particular brand. The fuck was I talking about? Yeah, old mate.
Nobody.
He now wears it up on his bicep all the time.
All the time.
Because he just didn't want the tan line. And I think he wears a watch too. So he's like, I just kind of want the watch to be the feature. Well, yeah, I get that. Whatever.
Yeah, I'd probably be into that, having that option, just because people ask you about it.
Yeah.
What is that? And you don't always want to have the conversation.
It's true.
Yeah.
Why we mentioned before, a bit tired, young parents, young dads, very happy to be part of the club. What is it about? Like, why are we saying, why are we tired? Why is it that sort of thing? Like, end of the week, parents, what are you going through?
Just busy, just life's busy. And I think if you're out there and you're trying to achieve things, you know, that take you, you know, in business and life that isn't necessarily the easy road at all. And I feel like that's what we're doing in a sense, both with home life and with business. Like we haven't picked a freaking franchise where we just sit back and just go, you know, we're building something here. It's tough. Like there's only so many hours in the day. You want to achieve great things. You're a very curious person. You want to learn martial arts. You want to socialize and stay connected with people, and you don't want to be, you know. So it's just hard to manage all those things and also get the right amount of sleep and be optimum. It's a big ask. It's a big ask. And I guess, you know, I came to try the wearable grudgingly over, you know, when did they start coming out? Garmin's and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Ages
Fitbits
ago.
and stuff.
Fitbits.
It's probably been about 10 years, I
Probably
guess.
something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm like super late to be even considering it first and then actually getting one.
Yeah.
I just didn't think I needed one. You know, I don't need one. And actually, right now, this week, having it on, it's telling me all the things that I already knew. But it's telling me with a little bit more information. And for me, it was more about like recognizing that being, you know, if you're busy, I am so busy, I'm kind of numb to my intuition at times. I'm not as dialed into my intuition because I'm trying to do these things. And yeah, I do have them and I should be calling upon them and being more present and stuff, but I'm also trying to get things done and I want something.
You're living that hustle life.
I'm living the hustle life. And why should I not try something new that can potentially help me bring my focus towards that? Because I need someone or something kind of to keep me accountable to it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I struggle with it. I struggle with it. Like, that's it. So, and for whatever reason that is, like the way I was brought up and, you know, not being put to bed early, and I've always had those things, and I don't have someone there to help me go to bed all the time, and this is just something that's just kind of shifting my perspective to learn more about it. And I definitely don't plan to stay on it the whole time. It's not like I want this thing to be telling me when to go to bed, and I don't want to develop that self-discipline. You know, I'm trying to just have it get me out of a thing.
Yeah.
Coach me along a little bit, like you would a PT.
Yeah.
You wouldn't deny a PT. Why would you not go and see a PT when you're in a bit of a rut?
That's right. Maybe one of the great PTs down at Jungle Brothers Strength and Movement.
That's
you know.
right. Yeah, they get you back on your feet.
Gold standard.
Yeah, and then you're training again or whatever that is. The same as this, I say. It's like I'm going to use it now to get me my focus back there, get my habits back in, and then say goodbye to that PT. And I say this, and I'm looking at you, but I'm just looking at how I would explain this to Tiora. Basically,
because we know T's like,
he's like,
fuck that.
Oh my god, the ridicule started straight away.
Yeah, T's an older generation from us. Stuck in the ways.
He doesn't
Bit of a Luddite, doesn't really embrace technology. It's we as a brand, Jungle Brothers, we're kind of we like things a little bit more. We like things with less accessories. We like things a bit more pure, a bit more real. That's kind of really built into our brand, and you could argue that a wearable in that sense doesn't really fit the brand, right? Like we don't like people wearing gloves when they're training. Like people get sore hands. Like don't wear gloves. Just let your hands get tougher.
Unless you're punching in the face.
Yeah, that's right.
But like gloves,
but like weightlifting gloves and stuff. Yeah. We don't like, we don't like people wearing knee sleeves or shoes. Because again, it's like, no, just let your feet toughen up, build strong knees, like, give your body the opportunity. And so the intuition that you talk about is one of those things to develop, right? And so, but what you're saying is like, well, I'm actually kind of happy to have something, I'm keen to try something that provides a bit of external accountability to things that, I could go and find that I could learn this shit myself, or I could just embrace this thing because it's a really good little shortcut and it's going to allow me to do a better job of these things like now.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's it really. So let's see what happens with it. But yeah, as I said, it's like the orthotics for Tim Branson. It's like you put someone in orthotics and a lot of, is it pediatricians? Podiatrists? They don't have a plan on how to get off it. Most of them. And that's his thing. He's like, he'll put someone in for a period, but the idea is to get them out, not to wear them for the rest of your life. It's the same thing with this sort of thing. I think that's where it's like, it's okay to do this. I'm not going to wear this for the rest of my life.
Say that now. Your life is changing in front of my very eyes. I had an interesting chat with one of the girls that I trained this week. She trains jiu-jitsu, and jiu-jitsu is an interesting one, like any kind of fight sport, but if you train combat, generally the best time to train, like the best classes are in the evening.
Yes.
And the tricky part about that is that you're training, like it's really high intensity, right? Jiu-jitsu training, as you know. It's a lot of effort, there's a lot of output, like your nervous system's getting super jacked up when you train. And like I train Tuesday, Thursday nights till 8 p.m. So I train till 8 p.m. and then it's like maybe 15, 20 minutes at the gym after just to chill out, stretch a little bit, get your stuff ready. And then you go home and you don't get home I usually don't get home till about 10 past 9. And then you have dinner, it's like 9:30 having dinner. And then you're like, fuck man, I gotta get to bed, But you've literally trained hard, jumped in the car, come home, had a shower, stuffed your face with food. And you're like, I just want to sit on the couch for 30 minutes, have a hot drink, catch up with my partner. Like, you just want to have this little wind down. Tricky part is that with that kind of schedule, you don't end up going to bed till 11 or later. And it's very easy to sort of drag yourself off to bed in a rush and still be quite neurologically jacked up. And you can't sleep, right? It's a classic thing. Like for anyone who trains fighting or even other stuff, like even if you come and do handstands on a Wednesday night, Jungle Brothers, I'm sure people can identify. You go home, you're like, I need to go to bed and everything's in place. I should be asleep now, but I'm just awake. So the problem is when you have that kind of training schedule, but then you also value getting up early and doing the early morning training thing. So she comes and trains with me in the small group bulletproof thing, which we start at 7 a.m. So it means, to get there, you're kind of getting up just before 6 and then you're getting out of the door 6:30 to be here at 7. Man, if you've trained jiu-jitsu the night before, and at her gym, which is in the city, they have classes that go till 9 p.m. They have like a 7 to 8 and an 8 till 9, which is excellent if you're, I don't know, a hospitality type person and whatever. You got a couple nights off and you want to go train and you don't get up till 9:30, 10 o'clock each day because you start work in the mid-afternoon.
That's right.
But if you're trying to be that person that gets up early, 6 a.m., let's say, and you're not going to bed till 11, that's like a 7-hour window. And what we know is that, and we know this now from wearing these things and tracking the data, that in a 7-hour period, let's say you kind of got into bed at 7 and you fell asleep pretty quickly and then you woke up at 6, you probably only sleep for 6 hours of that. So there's an hour in falling asleep, there's an hour in disturbances throughout the night, getting up to go to the bathroom. So it's 6 hours. And like that's 6 hours is not enough. Like 6 hours, they say, is enough to get by as a general recommendation, but not when you're working full time, training jiu-jitsu in the evenings, weightlifting in the mornings. Like you got a hectic schedule on, right?
Yes.
So there's a societal thing there, or like a cultural thing where it's like, well, I was talking to her about it. I'm like, look, you're in a tough spot because you're coming in here at 7 a.m. 3 times a week. You can't really be training that late at night. You got to, or maybe you can a couple of nights a week, but you got to be balancing this shit out. And I deal with that, and I'm sure you do too as a PT and a business operator. You work late sometimes, and then you got to come back in early in the morning. It's a classic PT thing.
It's a fine line at the moment. This is kind of why I got it.
Yeah.
I'm doing that bookending of the days and just trying to figure out, because in a lot of people's cases, as you could say in the case of your client, just don't train in the evening.
Yes.
But, or don't work in the evening. And in our case, it's like, well, that's my living.
I have to. Yeah.
On both ends of the day. So it's like, okay, well, these are things that I can't change. I can't just be an adult about, and I have to do these things. So how can I, so it's making me think, oh, okay, well, really I should be recovering this much. I'm not. What do I have to do? And that for me starts to push me into the importance of, well, maybe you actually need to reschedule your PT.
That's right.
Maybe.
What can I change here?
What can I change? And what I'm thinking of doing now is taking all martial arts off the evenings and going to lunchtime classes.
That's
my new thought.
The ideal.
Yeah, because they do lunchtimes, and so it's. I mean, these are what you were talking about is the situation that I'm in, led to this as well, because I haven't trained this much in years, like volume-wise at the moment, doing 7+ sessions of stuff, and I'm trying to manage that whole timetable, plus the work on top of that, and I just needed some help to manage it. Like I wasn't managing it, and this recovery coming in this morning, it's not quite working. I did a session with Susanna this morning after having my highest strain day, we did jits and sparring last night. It took me half an hour to warm up this morning to get the system going, and it's just like, okay, well, is this worth it, or should I be resting more, or should I be doing the session in the afternoon when I'm generally warmer? And just helping me to maybe think about what I'm doing and how I can make changes to make it better. I want to keep doing all the stuff. Just need something to point to the questions. We should probably talk a little bit about the wearable itself that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Have you ever had any other ones? Like, did your G-Shock do heart rate?
No.
Okay. I know Az's got a pretty slick Garmin.
I think.
He does heart rate, and from the little time I've had this thing, I think that a lot of the other wearables mainly measured heart rate. Don't quote me on this, but is Whoop's point of difference the heart rate variability that they've also put into the kind of algorithm?
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so they have, they all kind of, I think they all track kind of similar things, but how they process the data and then present it to you as a user is unique amongst them. And I think Whoop have come up with a very cool interface. It's you just wear this thing. It doesn't do anything besides, it's just a sensor.
Just counting your heartbeats and making...
Yeah, and it sends data to your phone, and then you got this cool app, and you can look at all this stuff on the app.
Yeah.
But so what does it tell you? It tells you you can see your heart rate, you can see your respiratory rate at night, you can see your heart rate variability, which is a bit of a thing in terms of recovery. It's measuring the intervals between heartbeats, and simply put, those intervals, which are in milliseconds, so they're very quick, those intervals for a healthy, strong heart that's like in good shape and for a nervous system that is well recovered, those intervals will actually vary slightly. So when you measure it, you want to see variance. So a high heart rate variability is good, low heart rate variability is bad in simple terms. But yeah, so it measures that. What does it give you? It gives you like a strain reading, which is measuring your cardiovascular effort on the day.
Yeah.
And then it gives you a whole bunch of other shit, right? Like it's telling you how many calories you burn. It's got a sleep coach telling you what time you should go to bed, how much sleep you need tonight, based on the previous day's strain and the previous day's sleep and all that stuff. I mean, you're at an earlier stage with it, so you're more, in that discovery phase of it now.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's essentially something that you wear on your wrist or on your arm. Can you get one where you get it on your chest? But it's just a little.
I think you can kind of wear it anywhere.
Doohickey. It's a little square thing with a band on it. There's no screen on it. It's just like taking your heartbeat on your wrist.
Paul was a bit upset that he couldn't play Snake on it.
Oh,
He thought, like, how do I fucking access the video games on
I
this
didn't
thing?
actually look into it that much. I was thinking about it for a long time, but I didn't look into like, how does it work? Like, I didn't look. I saw yours, and I just kind of assumed there was a little screen on it. So when it came out in the box, I was like, how do I open? Where do I flip the thing open so I can like press buttons?
Yeah.
Joe was laughing at me. But yeah, there's no screen on it as such. It's just a little thing. And it's kind of weird because it just takes data from you in the same way that any other wearable would. But as you said, Whoop in particular, it's how they present it to you, and it seems to me that Garmin, and I saw as is yesterday, and from how I've observed from the outside, their branding over the years, they're very exercise sports related. For endurance, running, etc., things that you can really you measure with your cardiovascular output. So when I looked at his, there's a lot of emphasis on exercise times, comparative times,
Yeah, I think
distance.
his
steps.
does GPS, doesn't it? Tracks his
GPS.
runs and
Yeah,
all
that's
that
right.
stuff.
Whereas the Whoop seems like they're not competing with that market, and they're doing something for the regular person. It can be used for exercise and stuff, but they haven't poured all of their resources into making that part the big part. It's more like about simplifying recovery for someone and being kind of ready for activity on any given day. So it's not just for the athlete, and I would say that it's got limited function for the athletes who want to actually record and compare and that sorts of things. And I've only been a week in. Can it do that?
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that it's about recovery. It's not. It doesn't tell you where you ran,
Yes.
but it's about recovery. And I think if you're an athlete, that's your bread and butter, right? It's like, how do I recover better so that I
Yes.
can perform better?
I guess what I mean is you can't put activities next to each other. So because we can log activities. When we do activities, we let it know I was doing martial arts between 5:15 and 6:15. And it's great. I got my heart rate there, the highest heart rate spike, the average, etc. But I can't put that on the screen next to every 5:15 to 6:15 Thursdays and compare them, and then have comparative information.
Oh, I see.
Whereas, do you know what I mean?
You might be able to. You get your monthly report.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah, but anyway, I like how they've simplified the concept of strain and recovery. I think that's very useful for people who aren't in our industry. Like, it's quite easy to understand for the normal person.
Yeah, so I mean, how did people understand these things in the past? There's been some simple methods of measuring recovery, which have been used for a long time. Weightlifters have traditionally used grip strength testing, which was a common one. You set a baseline you use a dynamometer, which is what we have one of in the gym.
We still have that?
Yeah, I got it. I bought it on Amazon.
Damn.
Yeah, it's
Love
in my
that.
box over there. But you measure your grip strength, maximal grip strength with it.
Uh-huh.
And the idea is you establish a baseline over, a 14-day period or something, and then establish, all right, this is my baseline when I'm well recovered.
That's what they would use.
And then you could check, you'd come in on a given day to do your lifting, and you could retest it. And if you're within a certain range below or above, that indicates you're under-recovered or adequately recovered to train hard today.
Was that kind of widely considered a good way?
Yeah, very, very accurate. Because it's measuring neurological function, right? Like, can you express maximal strength right now? Sure, it's got limitations, like anything does, but it's been widely used. You can also measure. There's methods of heart rate variability that people use as like an app. I think that you hold your phone camera to your finger and it measures. It shines a light through your finger and it's reading like heartbeat via blood flow or something like that. Like, so, and you can check your heartbeat pulse in the morning and put it on a graph, and so people have been doing this stuff. So like you said, it's just found a way to simplify some of those things and put it into a format that's kind of easy to digest. And I guess the one thing that stood out to me about what you said earlier was being numb to your intuition. And I think that this is like an idea that I was talking about with this girl, which is that there's things that we can do in our day-to-day life, there's things that we do every single day that make us numb to our intuition. Like, they're things that distract us from what our body is telling us, right? And those things are like being really busy, right? Super busy, like you're just thinking about work, thinking about what you got to do next. Caffeine does that, right? Caffeine just gives you energy, so you're all of a sudden numb to the fact that you don't have any energy right now because you mask it with caffeine. Alcohol does it, cigarettes do it, eating sugary foods. Lights do it, right? Like if you're around bright lights all the time, like that's going to keep you up because it's gonna reduce your body's ability to recognize that it's nighttime and you should be asleep, right? So your circadian rhythm gets all fucked up. If you in the book Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker, he talks about, really good book by the way if you're interested to know more about the sleep piece, quite a short read. But he talks about one of the greatest, how does he put it? One of the biggest fuck-ups, for want of a better word, for humans in sleep was the invention of the light globe.
Oh, yes.
And because prior to that, it was like candle light, campfire light, you had to make these lights. So really, illumination was rare and it was centralized. Whereas as soon as we invented light globes, we started mass producing them. We started filling our big cities with street lamps. I think it was gas street lamps at first. So it's not a light globe, it's a gas lamp, which is a precursor to a light globe. But all of a sudden the streets are illuminated, so people are walking at night, restaurants are open at night, there's this thing going on. So it's like, we all know when you go camping, as soon as the sun starts to go down, you've had dinner or whatever, you start to get tired, right? It's a very natural process. The sun is setting, sends a very direct message to your brain. Hey man, sun's going down, it's time to go to bed. You're like, oh, feel super sleepy. You check your watch, it's like, man, it's only 8 o'clock, how good's that?
You're just starting your jiu-jitsu session.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So you think about that, like in comparison to the natural world, it's like, fuck, this modern thing that we're in enables me to be really oblivious to those signals. It enables me to shut those signals out. And if I can't shut them out, there's like chemicals and compounds and stuff I can take that will shut it out for me, like caffeine and YouTube and whatever. So it's really something to acknowledge, and I think that for folks, it's important to try and be aware of those things and be mindful of it, and give yourself opportunities to feel that awareness.
Yes.
So, like going camping every now and again and experiencing that, being back out in nature, letting your circadian rhythm perform more correctly, and you just sort of slotting more in line with it. Giving yourself time away from caffeine for a period so that you're like, okay, I can actually just feel how I'm doing. Maybe not just pumping a coffee first thing in the morning because it's just your way of getting energy. But little things like that are really important. And I guess when we talk about, say, these wearables, we don't want to use you touched on this yourself, we don't want to use the wearable as an excuse to not build awareness around those things.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I think like with the growth of modern technology playing a huge part in that distraction and the kind of numbing of those intuitions. Like me taking this bit of technology is like me fucking getting back at it. I'm like, why shouldn't I embrace? There's so many technologies that we engage in every day that is, it's serving the strain side. It's my laptop,
YouTube.
It's the TV, it's the lights, it's my phone, and I just feel like now that I'm like grabbing a bit of technology, it's like, well, I'm going to use this against you, sort of thing. Like I want to use
fight
this
fire with fire
type thing. It's like, well, I'm willing to embrace technologies to harm myself. Why am I willing to embrace technologies to help me? And that's kind of where I was like, well, fuck it, I will take some ridicule potentially, and I'll have a go at this thing and see. I never like to be a slave to anything.
Except the company that you own.
Yeah, except for that, of course. And I don't plan on being a slave to this thing. And I was thinking about that, like I've already started cutting my coffee down, and I feel a bit like a slave to coffee sometimes because I have it. I will cycle off coffee from time to time. And now I've already cut my coffee in half this week because I want to see how that affects my data.
Yeah.
Type thing, or my recovery. And I know it helps. I just want to see the numbers,
Yeah.
But and I was thinking, can you become a slave to this thing? Can you be reliant on this thing? Was my thought. And I thought, I don't think I can be reliant on it because all it's doing is giving me data at the moment.
Yeah.
Is there a scenario where you get addicted to that data?
Well, I think so. I mean, I think we ultimately become reliant on every technology. It's kind of it's the good and bad of technology, right? Imagine if you didn't have Google Maps or Waze and you had to go back to using your Gregory's.
I was a pro with the Gregory's.
Sure, bet you were. These days,
I don't need it. I can get everywhere around this place. Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
though?
I do.
Like it's like fuck that. Like it's so easy to use my phone to map where I'm going.
Yes, that's right.
And so it's like, well, yeah, there's a trade-off for that. The trade-off for that is you can't use maps anymore. Like, you're kind of out of practice. I'm sure if you put it in front of you and like, you could figure it out again, but there'd be a period of upskilling and whatever.
Sorry, go ahead.
So I guess like similar to the Whoop thing, it's like, well, yeah, I mean, it's giving you the data. You can find that data elsewhere, or you could just use it and let it do its job, which kind of is like outsourcing. It's like when I get a coach to write a strength program for me. I could write my own, but I just want to free up some brain space, and I'm like, well, I'm just going to get someone who's thinking about this shit to do it for me. There's the accountability piece, but there's also the outsourcing nature of it.
Yeah.
Outsourced nature of it. So I'm like, cool, I'm happy to do that. Sure, I'm not getting practice at programming at that point, but whatever. I'm more interested in the benefits. So I do think there's that. I think, yeah, you could get really addicted in terms of letting it run your life, and all of a sudden it's like, sorry, Tash, I can't sit here and talk to you tonight because I need to be in bed right now. Like, you could let it dictate your behavior a little bit too radically.
Yes.
Or excessively. But I think that, taken with a grain of salt, you're just trying to be informed.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess, that's a good point. I was trying to point out the cons of the potential pitfalls of having one. That's a good one.
I mean, and I think there's being a person in the fitness industry, it's very easy to get caught up in that lifestyle, right? Like, I mean,
being optimum all the time.
Yeah, like optimum performance, sleep perfection kind of thing, like super perfect diet all the time. Like, you end up being super fit and amazing shape, but you got no friends, your partner doesn't like you, there's no life outside of the gym, Right. I don't think you can. I mean, it's never been our vibe here at JB's. especially, at least for you, myself, and Tio. But I don't think any of our members really resonate with that kind of fitnessy attitude. But also as a father, right? You got 3 kids, you got a partner. Like, you can be as optimum as you want. Those fucking kids need your attention and stuff, and you just have to give it.
Yeah.
So so there's a nice organic way of balance being maintained there, I think.
Some people would probably also be on their phone too much potentially. That's just it.
With the app.
Yeah, with the app, checking it out all the time. And we know that when you check something on your phone, you're going to go easier to social media and fucking go in a black hole for half an hour, and then you're like, what did I just get on my phone for initially? Yeah. So there's that too.
But yeah, look, I mean, for me, I don't really have an issue being reliant on technology. I'm kind of the same as that I'm thinking, I'll use this thing I think I got given it as a birthday present. It's got 18-month subscription. So I'll use it for 18 months and then I'll probably get rid of it. I think I'm hoping by then I've established, okay, these are the habits that I need to maintain and the things that are good for me in order to keep, on track with this stuff. And then at that point, once I've had the education on it, it's like going through a good strength training program. I want to be able to do it myself.
Yes.
I don't want to have that person on the outside that I'm outsourcing to forever, because that's 100% reliance.
Speaking about how to get off it, say, and learning from it, I guess I've already had the experiences, and this is kind of what I wanted out of it, and it's only been 4 days. But the data, it gives you the data, say for your sleep. This is a simple way. It tells you how much time in bed, how much of that time is asleep, awake, number of disturbances, REM, deep sleep. What do you call it? Slow wave?
Yeah.
Whatever it is. It's deep.
Or shortwave, some
Shortwave.
shit.
And it doesn't tell you, it doesn't speak on all the other factors on how you got there. That's up to you. So when I get that data, it's up to the individual on what they do with that data. It's trying to stay as unbiased as possible. But I guess I'm saying is like, if you don't have the intention to learn from it and get off it, you might not get off it, or you might stop wearing it and you haven't learned really from it. So my intention going into it is that I do get up. Well, I want to learn from it. It's not like I just want to get off it, but I want to learn from it. So I get data each night on my sleep, and I think about what did I do leading up to that, and then I'm making the changes. I think that's kind of an important distinction to make on how you learn from the information rather than just being a bit on autopilot.
Yeah.
Just receiving data back and going, oh, that was shit. Oh, I had a better sleep last night.
Yeah.
Sick.
Not reflecting.
And not reflecting on what it is. So, well, actually, they have they help with the questions, and I haven't really gone into that, but they have daily questions.
Yeah, once you get a month in, that gets deeper.
That gets deeper, hey?
Yeah, where it asks you more questions, then it gives you a report that gives you correlations.
Oh, okay.
It shows that when you drink alcohol the day before, your REM sleep is typically reduced by X percentage. Like little things like that starts to see it, so you can be like, oh shit.
So it goes down.
Having a glass of wine like each night midweek is actually taking away from my sleep quality.
Yes.
Reading a book in bed has actually been beneficial. Like that's one thing for me. If I read for 10 or 20 minutes before bed, it improves my deep sleep duration.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's real.
It tells you that.
Yeah.
Mate.
But it needs time and your responses to those questions to be able to start to give you those bits of info.
Yeah, sure.
Tell me, what do you, like in terms of like real world like habits, what do you, tell me where you go wrong. Tell me what, you've already mentioned like the training in the evening and then getting up in the morning and that kind of thing. Where else do you fuck up?
So I would say that what you just described was scheduling. I think I need to do better about scheduling my weeks in a more responsible, sustainable way.
Right.
So that's the first one and probably the biggest one.
But give me the specifics there, because there's people out there listening that are like, I'm fucking up.
Oh, dude.
So what? Like, what do you do?
Well, I know.
You watched the Netflix doco midweek last week, right? Tell me about that.
I get home too late. I want to be able to do these wind down things. I get home too late to be able to wind down and get to sleep with enough time before I have to wake up again. So I don't have enough time in my own house per day to do the right wind down, etc. Where I fuck up is I wind down anyway because I personally find it like cannot just come home from work, have a shower, ignore everything, go to bed.
Yeah, you need a bit of wind
I
down.
need a bit of wind down, and I need to read the news a little bit and catch up with the day, because our type of work here is typically I don't go to a cafe, read the paper, and have a bit of me time to get in here, and maybe that's what I should be doing. I come in here and I'm out the gate, and I'm working all day, and then by the time I get home at night, that's like the me time where I want to like look at the things that I'm interested in. I want to hang out with Tash, have a conversation with her if she's not dead tired and going straight to bed. There's also responsibilities for things that you have to do as well. You have to do freaking household admin, computer or fold clothes or clean up. You know, I usually go home. Dinner's there for me, thank God. I'm very grateful for that. And I'll clean up the house. It's just, it takes time. Have a shower. And then there's the evils on top of that. And that is watching fighting videos. That is wanting to watch a Netflix doco in the middle of the week.
Because you're like, I like to watch shit. I want
That's right.
I
Yeah.
want a bit of this in my life.
Yeah. And in some cases, I can't wait to get home to watch something, because it's usually sports related.
Yeah.
Because sports are like, they're events that are always coming up, so they're exciting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not just movies that are always sitting there. So it's like the anticipation for the event. So I know it's there this week, so I want to watch stuff around it. Plus, I'm learning stuff here in business, and I want to watch something or listen to something. And I started it this morning, and I want some more of that. So it's just like, and I think I explained in my post, it's also just like being generally curious. I know some people, I don't know how they do it, where they're just robots. Not robots, but they're really good at just going home, going to bed straight away, getting up, coming straight to work. Film industry, we used to work really long hours. People would do that, and I just don't know how they do it. I used to really struggle with that. I mean, you're really tired. You usually fall asleep anyway. You could only stay awake for so long.
Yeah.
But some folks, Steve Daly was really good at it. Good friend of ours.
Was he?
Yeah,
Go home, sleep.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He'd sleep, and he'd be, well, he used to freaking go home to sleep and get up at like 4 a.m, go to Anytime Fitness, pump biceps, then come to work at 6 a.m.
Chalky milk in hand.
Yeah, blowing trees.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I guess, yeah, those disciplinary things, I could definitely get to bed earlier.
What else? Is there any, you know, do you drink alcohol at night? Like, do you ever go and have a beer tonight?
Rarely.
Midweek kind of thing?
Yeah,
No?
rarely. Last night I had a glass of Shardy because Rachel was over.
Ah, Rach.
Rach,
Who's Rach?
Grace's mum.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. She was over and they were having drinks. I had dinner and I had a glass of wine, but not usually. I don't drink alcohol during the week unless, you know, Kate's got a bottle open or something, but no. Yeah, it's just...
Potentially, do you train? Maybe sometimes verge on overtraining?
Yes, yeah, that's kind of what's happened now.
I like pointing out all these fuck ups for you, by the way. Yeah. If you...
Yeah, it's the training aspect at the moment, because I'm trying to get more done. I want to do more, so I'm trying to squeeze that in.
Yeah.
And it's a bit of a problem, I find, and I keep talking about in the last couple of weeks with a few people. There's a lot of people starting martial arts in the gym, heaps of white belts. There's all the coaches starting jits, and they're at the beginning stage, and I can see their frustrations just from the outside. And then also sparring and stuff, new people to that. And the problem is, I think, with that is the skill acquisition factor. Means you have to put heaps of time in and heaps of reps. Coordination things need lots and lots of reps every day, constant. It's like, I was explaining it like, you know, jits once a week. Really very difficult to get your plane off the ground to start flying. It's like trying to read a book where you read 1 page a week. I was like,
It's a great way to put
it's
it.
a good way to put it. You need to consume it to get into it. And at the moment, for me, I'm like, fuck reckon I got to do martial arts 4 sessions a week for me to get to grappling to striking. Like
So a lot of competing obligations there, right? Because on paper, if someone was coming to you and said, "Look, I want to train.
Yeah.
I got 3 kids. I run my own business. I work in the morning and I work in the evening, and between those 2 parts, I'm working, and I don't get enough sleep each night. I know that, right? And I want to get good at jiu-jitsu, and I want to get good at Thai boxing, and I also want to build my handstand and upper body strength and get some lower body strength in each week, and I want to do that all at the same time. Tell me what I need to do." And what would you say to that person as a coach?
I'd say there's too many things. There's too many things going on.
Right?
Yeah.
You'd be like, you're in a nice way in your head. You're
Yes.
like, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah,
You
you're
can't do all that.
crazy.
Yeah, you're like,
There's one thing there that I'm not doing, which is lifting. I'm
Okay.
lifting at the moment.
well, mate, you need to get that in because I was
Yeah,
looking at your
right.
legs before. But it's like you would say to someone who came in
Yes.
for a consult,
Yeah, totally.
you go, "Dude, too ambitious. Scratch the fucking martial arts. Let's get a couple of evenings where you get, let's just get your schedule down a little bit.
Yes.
Get to the gym 3 times a week. Strength and mobility. Let's start with
Yes.
that.
Yeah, totally. And this is like I do know that. I'm also kind of like I said, it's a recent thing. I'm going to see how I can go with this high volume, and it's kind of screaming at me in the face. Recovery's screaming at me in the face. It's only been 10 weeks. And
That you haven't slept for.
no, it's been 10 weeks where I've been at this volume, so I want to know if I can do it, and now if I can get the scheduling right and the recovery right, then can I maintain something like this? You know what I mean? Because I don't think I'm red line, like there's room there for improvement.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, dependent on the individual, someone might have I'm not going to say, like, truthfully, I'd tell them there's too many things. Do one thing at a time type thing, maybe.
100%.
But if that person has a particular goal, and they're willing to burn that candle a little bit more for that goal, maybe I'll be like, okay, well, let's consider it. Let's look at it. For instance, I'm nearing 40, dude, and if I want to get in the ring again, or again, I say again, at the fight night, if I want to do a development day over, my Thai night or something like that, I have to do it in the next 2 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I got to do it this year. I want to go to JITS comp this year, and I'm like I say, I want to get my plane up and running. I want to get the confidence going, so I can do that. So there's that other competing thing, which is like the goal. It's like someone wants to build muscle mass but doesn't need it in here. You're still gonna maybe help them out if it's not detrimental to their health. Like, okay, sure, put your time into that.
Yes.
But it's maybe not the right goal for longevity.
I think we can make that acknowledgement that sometimes it is as a young man or a woman, it's it's acceptable to place glory in front of sustainability, right?
You're saying I'm not a young man anymore?
After all, Tyrell said it in Blade Runner, man. The light
Oh,
that
yes.
burns twice as bright burns half as long.
Correct.
Right? And so, so I get it. But I think that's a nice thing to paint for folks, because
Yes.
it's like, okay, like you're doing something, you're trying to do something that's pretty tough.
Yeah.
And I think that you've embraced this new data piece because you're like, I need some help here to manage so that I can set my expectations more realistically.
Yes.
I think that's actually at the heart of, it's like, I got to get my recovery better, but I also need a coach to tell me what you can't fucking do this.
That's right.
But if you shift it to this, you can do that. And you can be like, all right, I can settle on that.
Yes.
And then it's like expectations are set and I'm happy with what I'm doing.
Yeah. So this is my little coach there, because I think I could maybe get this schedule happening. Schedule,
Stay tuned, folks.
dialing a few little bits and pieces.
Will Paulie make it, or will he crash and burn?
Yeah. So it's been 8 or 9 weeks.
I'll give a little like my training schedule is not as ambitious as that. I'll be honest. At the moment for me it's really my knee rehab work and jiu-jitsu, which I go to twice a week. But I do train jiu-jitsu in the evening, and I do a double class, so it's 5:30 till 8 p.m. So it's 2.5 hours. And
That's a big sesh.
yeah, it's a big sesh. It's a Tuesday and a Thursday night. And I feel, like I said before, I get out of there by about just before 8:30.
Do you teach, Dave?
No.
No.
No, I just train. And I want to get my black belt. So for me, I'm really driven to get my black belt. It's like, well, I've got to keep showing up, I've got to keep improving what I'm doing. I'm going to compete this year. Like I'm going to, I've got to keep moving forward with this thing. But I will get out of jiu-jitsu and I'll check my whoop, and it will tell me, it'll tell me that I need to be in bed by 9:10, which is in like 20 minutes, if I want to get enough sleep to perform tomorrow.
Damn. Do you have it set at a time that you get up?
Yeah, I tell it I'm waking up at 5:30 because I got to be here at 7 a.m. tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so it's like, cool, you need to get to bed in 20 minutes. And I'm like, well, it's going to take me 20 minutes to drive home, then it's going to take me dinner, cleaning up, blah blah blah. So on that night, I'm forced to acknowledge you're going to be slightly under recovered tomorrow, and that's a conscious decision I make. And so I look at it in a similar way where I think I'm okay with accepting a subpar performance tomorrow in exchange for being able to do this tonight, because this is important to me. But I also recognize that it's not going to be this way forever.
Yes.
And some weeks it's going to be harder than others, and it might mean that I have to change my approach, say at another end of the week. So say it's Friday now, I've got the ability to do a strength session this afternoon, but I'll check what the data show me, and if it's like, mate, you're fucking struggling today, I might just not do the strength work. Like, all right, I'll just leave it. I'll do a bit of mobility. I'll do a light session just to get the body moving, but I'm not going to go and tax my nervous system more, because I dig the hole deeper.
Yeah.
Right? But it might tell me, no, you're actually looking pretty good today, and I go, okay, fuck it. I don't feel like it. I'd rather just have a 1 hour nap, but I'll do the strength work, knowing that physiologically I'm in a good position to do so, and I'm not digging the hole in that moment. So I can resonate with what you're saying there.
I was just gonna take the conversation to the idea of strain, and I guess the work was quite handy how it would link you to podcasts to give you more information from the scientists who put the bloody algorithms and the director of data and stuff. You listen to them chat about it, but they touched on something which just reminded me about the strain thing, and I guess I wanted to point out that the idea is not to never have a strain.
And strain is good.
Strain is good. Strain is good.
Yeah. In the same way that stress is good.
Yes, that's right.
In the right dosages.
That's right. And I only say that because there's the danger of people might not think that way. They're like, oh, we don't want strain, we want comfort, and maybe use this work to always keep themselves in a non-strained kind of zone.
Oh God. There's people, I guess. Yeah.
Totally.
They're probably not listening to this podcast though.
Probably
those
not.
people.
Yeah.
It's probably like, I don't know, I'm thinking older generation, or
I reckon younger generation.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Fuck, people
that don't exercise, because for Garmin, I know I keep saying that. Theirs is exercise based, so you're always recovering. In contrast to exercise, do you know what I mean? Whereas I feel like, just as a general lifestyle tool, someone who just does regular stuff and they accumulate strain by accumulated little tiny efforts, and it's a strain scale. Like, it's not like a 9 is the same for me as it is for someone else, so it's relative to their own thing. So they're going to be like, well, the scale is 21. It's telling me that 10 is what? Do you know what I'm saying? They might find themselves in a shitty average and I wonder if the Whoop or the wearables, well, I think we've proven today, what you were telling me, I was thinking it's actually not that unbiased. It's biased towards health.
Well, yeah, it'll tell you, like, this is an optimal amount of strain for you to get fitter.
Oh, does it tell you that?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's cool then.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And it'll tell you, like, your strain today is quite moderate, but that's going to put you in a great position for recovery for tomorrow. Or you've overreached, which will make you fitter, but you're going to need to recover harder tomorrow.
Does it prompt someone for exercise? Because obviously you can accumulate strain from not exercise, from bad stuff. Does it tell you you're getting, say there's no strain, you're getting like little to no strain, does it suggest you should probably do some exercise and build up your strain?
That I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see what you're saying.
See where I'm kind of going to? Like I don't...
Yeah. I mean, I think if you're that, that sounds like someone that would be very wrapped in cotton wool.
They're out there,
and,
bro.
And trying to avoid stress on the body. I mean,
That's the modern world, is all about comfort.
Well, yeah, it is. But again, I don't think, unfortunately, we don't have an audience like that. But if folks who are listening in that realm, it's like you need strain and stress on your body at the correct dosage in order for you to become fitter, stronger, more muscular, leaner, healthier. Like it's really important. You need challenge. It's this challenge, growth. Yeah, if it's exactly what our biology was designed on, right? This trade. But what we're talking about, the realm that we're in, and I think that the realm that most of our listeners would be in, is too much like strain, not necessarily in the way that Whoop defines it as cardiovascular effort, but too much output and not enough downtime.
Yeah.
Like not enough rest, not enough recovery. For all those reasons we mentioned earlier, right? Like caffeine, lack of sleep, lights, fucking kids, family, social engagements, blah, blah, blah. Those are the things that, most people, and if we go back to like the podcast we did with John Marsh, he's like, all my chips are on the table, that people are too upregulated and they need more downregulation, which is talking essentially about relaxation in simple terms. So yeah, I think it's it's very timely. I know for me, as we've mentioned, for us in terms of bringing us back.
Yeah, for sure.
And we have this conversation. I mean, that's what Dylan's going to be talking about at the workshop this Saturday.
Yes,
he's going to be like, guys, how do you do a better job of sleeping? What's good sleep hygiene? How much do you need per night? Like without using a tech piece of data, it's just like, how do you fucking, blocking out the lights, having good bed sleep hygiene, making sure that you have a process before you go to bed and you enact that every night and, blah, blah, blah. What do you eat so that you're recovering well? How do you get enough protein? Do you need carbs after training? All these little things that you can do. I think that's really what people are most in need of, huh?
Yeah, for sure. That'll be a good one next Saturday.
I'm enjoying the journey with this thing. I don't think it's for everyone, and I kind of make the joke sometimes. Like when I bought one for Misa when early on in her pregnancy, and I apologized when I gave it to her because I was like, sorry, because this thing's going to show you how shitty your sleep is for however long once baby's born. But if I look looking at that, it's actually been beneficial, even though it shows we've got a team together where we can both see each other's data each day. And it's really cool because I can see that she had a shit sleep, or I can see that she had a better sleep. Doesn't necessarily mean she's going to feel all that much better or worse, but it just indicates things. It informs us to make better decisions at night. So where we would like after jiu-jitsu, say last night, I would come home, we'd have dinner together. It's quite late. Our typical thing is have a hot drink after dinner, chill out for 20 minutes, maybe put the TV on, maybe watch something for 30 minutes. But for me, I was like, no, I'm going to bed. I finished washing up, no hot drink for me. She wanted to, and I know that she can get a little bit extra sleep this morning. I had to get out of the house earlier, so I'm like, I'm just going to go to bed. I wouldn't have done that before. I would have just had the hot drink and paid a higher price for it today, right?
Yeah.
So I think that works really well. Adopting those habits. And one thing I know in reality that I've already changed, I've recognized that I like to watch something on TV. Like I like to watch a movie each week. we're both really into movies, so I've always liked to watch a movie. Now that we're not watching TV as much through the week, it's like, all right, well, how do I watch a movie? We've got to do it on the weekend. So Saturday night will be the night where we'll put a movie on. And if we don't finish it, which often happens because we get tired, right? Like by fucking 10:30 or whatever, we'll finish it on Sunday, but we'll often finish it during the day. and I wouldn't have done that in the past, right? I'm like, no, it's the daytime. I should, whatever, be cutting the grass or go out to the beach or walk the dogs or something.
Yes.
Whereas now I'm like, no, there's like an hour of the movie left. Let's sit on the couch and like watch this film.
Yeah.
And it's cool because I finished the weekend and I'm like, I got to watch a movie this week, which is important to me. Whereas previously I would have squeezed it in at the wrong end of the day and paid a price for it. So I do think there's some very cool adjustments to your habits off the back of understanding or knowing the data.
Did you tell us why you were against them originally, wearables? I don't think you did.
I guess I have a bit of a sort of feeling that people don't do the basics well enough.
Yes.
Anyway. So I'm like, people don't train consistently enough. People don't move regularly enough. People don't eat well consistently enough. So why try and like look into the finer details to like get the fruit that's really up high on the trees rather than just eating the fruit that's right in front of you?
Mm.
So, and we have a tendency, I think, as humans to want to do that. It's like someone starts jiu-jitsu and they're like, oh, I want to buy like the new fucking leg lock instructional. What do you think? Like, I've been watching it and I'm like, you don't need that information. You just need to show up 3 times a week and do that for a couple of years. And then we can talk about you watching instructionals of really complex, high level jiu-jitsu sequences.
Yeah.
So it's the same idea, right? It's like, get the low hanging fruit first, get all the easy gains, and then let's talk about the shit that's, more out of reach. So I kind of see, in a way,
We've graduated.
We're here, man. We're up high. But, it's also that way that I view it is not necessarily the way.
Yeah.
It's just how I tend to have a template of it in my mind for the majority of people. But, as proven, like maybe you're, like in your example, there's certain things you're not doing. However, maybe grabbing that piece of technology and having your head in all that data enables you to do a better job of that stuff. That is a positive result. Nobody can argue that. And that was what drew me to it. So I was always like, fitness wearable, like I know I need to get more sleep. I know I need to fucking prioritize recovery a bit more. I know I should spend a bit of time, practicing my breathing or whatever. However, I was talking with friends who were using it and I asked them, has your sleep improved since wearing this thing? And they all said, yes.
So you're like,
I'm like,
okay.
well, fuck, I can't dispute that.
Yes. Yeah.
So do I want an improvement in sleep? Yeah, I do, or I'm going to get one.
Yeah.
And so, it's kind of two perspectives on it. But ultimately, I think if it moves you closer towards what you want, great.
Well, yeah, that's kind of how I came about to it. Also, I consider you a very credible source who doesn't just jump into things lightly. So obviously did the research on it, and you were already seeing good results from it and giving me positive feedback. So I was like, okay, I'll do it. Here's the question off the back of it: what other technologies do we use? This is a question for both of us. That help our health and fitness. Are there any ones that we kind of engage in that help us? If you were really just trying to strip everything away and then like go, okay, well, what is it? We use timers, we use clocks, and I'm not, some people in different training modalities don't like to use clocks or timers to measure things because it's an intuition thing. Having a hold until you feel fatigue or a position shift. What other technologies are there? Like, simple ones like that, or even complicated ones. I mean, I don't really use any other apps. There's calorie counting stuff. I've dabbled with it enough to be able to talk about them and help with clients, but I'm also, an intuition type guy, like you said,
Yeah, I don't mind.
Stuff.
I'll use a calorie counter.
Yeah,
I like, MyFitnessPal or something like that works well. But I guess beyond that, I can't really think of anything.
We don't really use any other apps. I mean, obviously we use software in the gym to manage a big group of people, but for the training itself and...
I've tried like sleep trackers, the early apps on the iPhone and stuff.
Yeah, any good?
Nah. Oh, well, I didn't like them because they just told me I was sleeping like shit all the time.
Do you have a light clock? That's a piece of technology that is trying to counter the effects of technology.
Yep.
So that one,
that's been real good.
That's good, hey? So it illuminates the room at the time that you set, so you wake up naturally to blue light?
Yes. Well, no, it's not blue light. It's like a tungsten light.
Yellow
But
light.
it wakes you up with illumination rather than noise.
It's pretty cool.
Which is
That
nice.
wouldn't get me up. That'd take me like an hour to wake up.
Well, it backs it up then with noise. So it has the sunrise setting, so the light dims up over 15 or 30 minutes, you can choose. And then after a couple of minutes at full illumination, it will run a soundtrack of your choice. I have like a bird chirping thing, so like tweet, 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 tweet. And you're like, oh, wake up to the birds and the light.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's good. It's usually Misa wakes up first. She's like, turn the fucking light off. The room's so bright. The baby's fucking illuminated. Hattie's illuminated. Yeah.
That reminds me, Marco, he used to have, what is it? His alarm was set to on his phone, and I did this for like a month. Fucking piece of inspirational music. And that was the Lion King thing with it on Pride Rock, and it's like,
Oh, wow.
That would be like the alarm clock that would wake me up in the morning.
Was it actually? That'd be a bit harsh, wouldn't it?
It was pretty harsh. It was harsh enough to like,
Yeah.
pull you out of whatever dream you're in.
Yeah.
And then it was like, I'm on Pride Rock. That was quite funny, but yeah, I had to get rid of it. It was a bit too harsh, but it was just a memory.
But yeah, I strongly rate those light clocks. Good. I got the Lumi. I think it's made by Philips.
Okay.
Lumi, Lumie. Get yourself one on the back.
I've got one of those 13-month-year-old clocks. You know those ones? She's 13 months old.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right on.
Funny thing, it goes off all the time. It's broken at me. Yeah.
She got just googly, like making noise or crying, wanting food.
She's got a bit of a cold at the moment.
Right.
So yeah, just waking up, and her sleep's changing during the day a little bit, and her schedule's changing, so her sleep's just a bit disrupted. She's getting up screaming.
Yeah. Nah, poor thing.
Yeah, and anyway, last night was good. She only got up once, and she didn't really cry, which was good.
Win.
Huh? Win.
Win.
I know.
Take them where you can get them.
Yeah.
Man, well, maybe that's a good idea for a future episode. We could do it off the back of Dill's rest and recovery workshop, but we could talk about maybe some of the key things for rest and recovery. So besides this technological piece,
yes.
What are you doing? Like, what can you do from a food perspective, from a rest perspective, from a breath and kind of mindset perspective? The stuff that he's going to go through in the workshop, we could paint that out for folks on the podcast.
Yeah, sounds good.
We'll wrap it there. Guys, thanks for listening today. Thanks, Paulie. Thanks, Panavore. If you enjoyed the episode, please share it with a friend. Take a screenshot of it, tag us up, post it on Instagram. Helps to support the show, helps to, so we can keep doing bigger and better things. We'll catch you guys next week. Oh, and if you need any help, get at us, junglebrothers.com, or on Instagram at Jungle Brothers Movement.
Episode 100 next week, yeah?
Episode 100. Stay tuned. Big one.
The beat, bro.
Bye.
Ciao.